The root cause is all about profit. All these interconnected profit relationships have created a delicate balance. Many behaviors are illegal and risky, but in reality, the system operates in the most efficient way. Bicycle New South Wales also responded to me and did not deny what I said. Maybe because I was too emotional, some of the conclusions were a bit exaggerated. But there is no big problem at the fact level, and the problem is very serious, but it has not been exposed by the media. In fact, the report was a forged compliance report. Forging a false report can be punished by up to 10 years imprisonment. Moreover, the police deliberately stand up for them and tell everyone that this pharmacy sells tranquilizers, but actually sells drugs privately. I read an article published on 9 News and thanked them for their attention to the safety issues of e-bikes. Indeed, this issue is very important and may affect everyone who travels. If you wish to learn more about the insider information of the e-bike industry, I can share some insights from my own experience. The law requires that the theoretical speed of the e-bike is 25 kilometers per hour for everyone's safety, and there is no problem with that per se. However, the law should be based on real-world conditions. If the law is to be met, there should also be effective supporting improvement measures put in place. Otherwise, the law and reality becomes disconnected, and enforcement agencies end up mechanically and rigidly punishing violations selectively. Do you think that approach really helped society progress? What is the actual situation? The reality is very harsh. In Sydney, there are not many psychopaths, so e-bikes must share the road with cars. Some people choose to ride e-bikes on a footpath, thinking it's safer for them. But for pedestrians, it's even more dangerous. However, this is the harsh reality. Such practices are illegal, yet one can still observe many instances like this on the road. The police do not stop every offense. Enforcement seems to depend on the mood of the police and the luck of the e-bike rider. If you choose to share the road with cars, you must also consider other violations. Cars double parking, parking in no parking zones, turning without checking mirrors and blind spots, overtaking e-bikes extremely close within 20 centimeters, not yielding in runabouts, unsafe overtaking, and so on. These kinds of violations are very common on the road, and the police hardly deal with them. A very poor unwritten rule has formed. Many violations directly relate to life and death, yet the police do not handle the more serious violations. There are also many examples of low-quality driving among Sydneysiders. Besides the usual insults hurled at e-bike riders, I have experienced situations where, while I was riding fine, a car suddenly overtook between me and the vehicle beside me. In some cases, after overtaking, the driver even turned around to give me the middle finger before speeding away. Alternatively, even when I have the right of way, some drivers blatantly ignore it and make a forced turn, forcing me to brake hard and nearly causing an accident. Or a vehicle might pass close to you, suddenly shout to scare you, and then chuckle maliciously as your body shatters from the shock and the e-bike shakes. Why do the police not deal with the more dangerous road offenses? It may be that, due to an information gap, the police know which violations incur higher fines. Ordinary car offenses may only be around $200, while at least 95%. The police say it is more absolute. 100% all of e-bikes are illegal. This situation is easy and convenient to process and can reach fines of about $3,000. Even among e-bike riders, teenagers who do not wear helmets and deliberately ride dangerously on footpaths or close to the police are often ignored. The police simply pretend not to see, continuing to talk with colleagues on the other side. It is not much different from communist China. Australian police also bully the weak and fear the strong. If the police are in a bad mood or don't like someone, they can stop the person on the road and ask him to pay a fine, enjoying the pleasure of being superior. Moreover, the police themselves also commit illegal traffic behaviors in order to make their driving more comfortable. So, do they find themselves? In addition to the poor quality of city drivers that I mentioned, the police know the inside story of the industry and selectively enforce the law. The quality of people who use e-bikes is different, and most of them are for the purpose of making money. Therefore, there are indeed many illegal behaviors. Look left and right and force through when they think it is safe. Sometimes they don't even look, and thus many traffic incidents occur. But you must also consider the exploitation of food delivery platforms such as Hungry Panda on food delivery workers. Western platforms such as Uber Eats are better, but there is a certain degree of exploitation. If you are interested, I can explain the exploitation of food delivery platforms later. Hungry Panda has requirements for delivery time, and there will be corresponding penalties if it is not completed on time. Of course, from the perspective of consumers, the faster the better. So, correspondingly, the risk will also be transferred to the delivery man. Living in this high-pressure environment for a long time to make money will lead to changes in the brain and behavior. More inclined to take risks, numb to risks, have a sense of urgency about time, and cannot concentrate very much. In essence, the root cause is all about profit. Merchants sell e-bikes that can exceed speed in the gray area and have reasonable excuses to shrink all risks. Delivery riders on e-bikes can earn more money and are not as restricted as those on motorcycles. Consumers get their food faster, and delivery platforms extract maximum efficiency from riders, thereby generating more profit for the company. Road users driving cars are also annoyed by slow-moving e-bikes and sometimes, for their own convenience, illegally overtake without regard for the safety of e-bike riders. The enforcing police are aware that these practices have become an unspoken rule for the past few years. They hardly address the issue and may simply catch a few to appease their superiors. Or if an accident happens, it will be handled as it should be, and then strictly enforced the law for a while. All these interconnected profit relationships have created a delicate balance. Many behaviors are illegal and risky, but in reality, the system operates in the most efficient way. Whether an e-bike rider accidentally hits a pedestrian or a car crashes into an e-bike rider, it is still a low probability event. Like other unlawful acts on the road, it is ultimately a matter of bad luck for whoever suffers the consequences. Otherwise, it would not be so difficult to break this terrible balance. Regarding the matter of Darody's secret handling of unlocking the 25 km/h speed limit, I think it is good enough for some level. Some merchants, like the one I encountered at Burwood's Lithium bicycle shop, automatically unlock the speed up to 45 km/h. Moreover, the adjustment is controlled by a simple switch on the e-bike. The merchant uses certain sales pitches to persuade customers that on the road, only first gear is allowed and using second or third gear is illegal. However, they never specify what serious consequences might occur, leaving all responsibility to the consumer. I was fined nearly $3,000 and got demerit points. Transport of New South Wales even mistakenly gave me 29 demerit points. Furthermore, the limitation method is almost non-existent. Unlike Darody, which requires active contact to unlock the speed limit, this approach simply lures consumers into choosing unlocked speeds. Even if a problem occurs, the merchant has a rational excuse to shrink responsibility. But strictly speaking, what Lithium bicycle shop sells now is still classified as a motorcycle, because EN 15194 also has restrictions on unlocking speeds. Consumers cannot be allowed to unlock speeds at will. This shop went too far, not only not limiting speeds according to regulations, but also deliberately helping consumers unlock speeds, putting a switch on the e-bike and using it to shrink responsibility when something goes wrong. If an accident happens, the police, the merchant, and the regulatory bodies will offer lofty explanation, but these do little to resolve the situation. Everyone has already found an escape route, and only a few unfortunate individuals bear the pain. This is just like the countless misfortunes that occur daily. The police will, within a few days, conduct a stricter random inspection to satisfy their superiors' pressure. Other departments will also hold meetings and propose suggestions. However, after a few weeks, Nothing changes because there's no solution originating from the source, and with a large number of news items generated daily, this issue eventually fades away. For example, even though it has been 2 years since my fine, the reality remains the same. This is the unspoken rule. If you don't believe it, you can go to Chinatown and observe for a half an hour along the tram line and see how many e-bikes are operating illegally and how many violations occur. The police pass by there many times a day and are well aware of the unspoken rule. Whether they fine or who to fine depends solely on the officer's mood. Indeed, the police have wide discretion. They can enforce or not. Even if they handle some cases, they might merely issue warnings or impose maximum fines. Meanwhile, many more severe e-bike violations, especially involving white people or teenagers, are ignored, while enforcement against ethnic Chinese is stricter, showing signs of implicit discrimination. Regarding Lithium Bicycle Shop, I previously mentioned their current illegal operations, merely using a simple switch on the e-bike to control speed, which lures consumers into opting for unlocked speeds. 2 years ago, their practices were even more extreme. On 30th of October 2022, when they sold me an e-bike, they provided me with a test report certifying that the e-bike was compliant, which lowered my guard. However, on 28th of December 2022, I was stopped by the police and informed that the e-bike was illegal. For instance, it exceeded the legal speed of 25 km per hour, and the electric assist is only supported to provide a maximum of 6 km at startup, with higher speeds requiring pedaling. The e-bike sold to me did not require pedaling. The speed could be increased directly via a knob. At the same time, it exceeds the described speed of 25 km per hour and can reach 45 km per hour in third gear. Even if used in first gear, while the speed is 25 km per hour, it does not meet the other requirements of EN 15194 and is thus classified as a motorcycle by the law. That same day, I confronted the shop and argued with them. They still told me that their e-bike was definitely legal and even provided me with a PDF version of the test report, promising that I could show it to the police next time. That assured me that if the police did not recognize the report, they would go to court to defeat the shop's reputation. The shop assistant said this in person, and there are Wechat chat records which misled me into believing there was no issue. But when the incident actually occurred, they did not uphold their promise and completely shirked responsibility. Moreover, the report was a forged compliance report. Forging a false report can be punished by up to 10 years imprisonment. On 13th of April 2023, after being stopped by the police again, the officers examined various data on the e-bike. They noted that by turning the knob, speeds exceeding the maximum 6 km per hour without pedaling were possible. They even changed the gear setting to third gear to test the maximum speed without caring if it was set in first gear. Based on that, the police classified it as a motorcycle and issued me 5 fines amounting to approximately $3,000. I contacted the shop again, and this time they disavowed any responsibility, stating that all consequences would be my own burden. After I argued with them based on reason, they agreed to help me replace the e-bike with a new one that complies with Australian law and can be ridden on the road. Initially, they asserted confidently that their e-bike was legal and promised to support me in court if necessary. But their words were empty. Replacing the e-bike means that they implicitly admitted the previous one was illegal. Their old e-bike's sales poster clearly stated, progressively reduced as the bicycle speed increases beyond 6 km per hour, indicating that it was not in line with EN 15194 standards. The police at the scene also confirmed that it did not comply with Australian law and was classified as a motorcycle. Therefore, the EN 15194 compliance report they provided was forged. Furthermore, on their official website, the store continuously displayed evidence of their illegal practices. Their e-bike does not require pedaling and can have its speed adjusted directly by a knob, which violates EN 15194 requirements. Namely, that speeds beyond 6 km per hour must be achieved by pedaling. They also have YouTube videos showcasing this illegal evidence. Additionally, in their physical store, a display screen continuously played this video for 24 hours, demonstrating their illegal practices. This had been on display for years, and the police passing by that area had seen it countless times without taking any action. For unknown reasons, 1 or 2 months ago, the shop turned off the display. After I switched to a legal e-bike, I observed another strange phenomenon on the road. While I was riding at a maximum speed of 25 km per hour, I saw an e-bike overtaking me, even though its display still showed 25 km per hour. This is a trick that many Chinese people can easily notice. The displayed speed is not trustworthy, and you need to go through a speed detection road or test in a laboratory to get the accurate speed. In fact, the police have long known about this shop and its illegal sale of e-bikes. When I was first stopped, even before any discussion took place, the police immediately recognized that the e-bike was purchased at Burwood. There's only one e-bike shop in Burwood. In further discussions, the police shocked me by stating that all e-bikes on the road are illegal. The police are fully aware that this shop sells e-bikes that cannot legally operate on public roads, yet they do nothing. They do not warn new customers. Their inaction has allowed the situation to worsen, resulting in at least 95% or even 100%, as the police claimed. If you don't believe me, you can retrieve the police body cameras from the time and the place I provided as evidence. All reporters can conduct undercover investigations to get the current police statements of e-bikes on the road being illegal, trapping consumers like me. One idea even occurred to me. As soon as buyers leave the shop, riding an e-bike becomes illegal. Then, by stationing 1 or 2 police near the shop every day, one customer could easily get nearly $3,000 in fines, quickly exceeding $10,000 daily. What job would be easier than that? And the key is that it is completely legal. Very ironically, when the first event to promote traffic regulations and the legal e-bikes to delivery men was held in September 2023, the police and the council specifically selected and endorsed this store. Another event was also held with this store in September 2024. It is unknown what kind of collusion of interests exists among them. This is just a reasonable guess by me, and the media needs to dig out further clues. On 4th of September 2023, during a seminar, the e-bike they demonstrated was legally compliant with Australian law. But after the event, until I went to see it a month or 2 ago, they were still selling illegal e-bikes. If reporters are interested, you could collaborate with the police and conduct random spot checks to see if the situation is as I described. On their website, there's also recognition from the board mayor praising their business. If everything were as good as it appears on the surface, that would be great. However, once you understand the inner workers, the situation becomes very ironic. Regarding the 2023 e-bike safety seminar, there are many details that merit further study. The shop recorded the entire process on video. Reporters interested in probing deeper could uncover more problematic details. This is the EN15194 label that the police showed me as evidence of compliance. I am not sure how important this label is, or whether all e-bikes entering customs in Australia are required to have it on the frame. This shop's e-bike did not have it in the past and still does not have it, even on the e-bike demonstrated at the 2023 e-bike safety seminar. Moreover, during the police presentation, this EN15194 label was not mentioned. I am not sure if the police deliberately omitted it. Also, after the 2023 e-bike safety seminar ended, the store also summarized the following content on Wechat social media. This confirms what I have said before. The law is one thing and reality is another. Whether or not the police act depends on their mood, with implicit discrimination involved. The problem is not that the police have insufficient law enforcement resources. In the contrary, I think the police are too idle. They are too lazy to deal with the really serious problems because they are too difficult and take too much time and energy. Or the problems are too small and thankless. As police have lived in Sydney for a long time and drive on the road every day, they know much more information than me. It is impossible for them not to know the unspoken rules that I have known for a few months since I came to Australia. According to the police themselves, 100% of the e-bikes on the road are illegal. I think a more reasonable number is 95%, which means there is a high probability of problems. If the police are in a bad mood or don't like someone, they can stop and check. Basically, there are problems, and they can report to their leaders, and their own assessment indicators can be easily completed. To give a simple example, if drugs are rampant in society, the police have known it long ago, and unspoken rules have already been formed. The police do not solve the problem at the source, but selectively arrest a few drug users to report to their leaders. Do you think this can solve the problem? Moreover, the police deliberately stand up for them and tell everyone that this pharmacy sells tranquilizers but actually sells drugs privately. Instead of solving the problem from the source and forming a better social environment, the police endorsed them and allowed the environment to deteriorate. They selectively dealt with whoever touched the bottom line of the law. When a society indulges bad people and allows bad things to happen, causing victims to break the law. So, is it that the society itself has not fulfilled its due responsibilities? This is the most basic value. Because the police made many obvious and serious mistakes, I complained to the police through the Law Enforcement Conduct Commission on 18th of October 2023. I described many reasons, but for some reason, the LECC that supervises the police did not directly investigate, but let the police investigate their own problems. The result is that the police directly hang up the phone and refused to communicate and deal with the problem. Then I complained to the LECC through the officer of the inspector of the LECC. The OILECC that supervises the LECC also did not and found a very bad excuse to refuse to deal with it. So I said that there is not much difference between Australia and communist China. The written laws look beautiful and uphold fairness and justice. When it comes to the implementation level, I don't know what it was distorted. I don't know what it was distorted into. Moreover, the country spent a lot of money and resources to support many departments that are not very useful. On the surface, it seems that some things have been done, but in fact, it has not promoted society much. Because this store has obvious deception, misleading behavior, and forged a fake compliance report, I also complained through fair trading. However, fair trading did not resolve the dispute. The store did not admit that it has a problem and used some lines to shut up fair trading. Fair trading strategy is to handle the dispute through the high-level New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal, (NCAT). I have not yet gone through this process, and there are only 6 months left. However, because this is only for the trade dispute itself, the most compensation is a traffic fine of more than $2,000. But there's also the item of forging a fake compliance report, which cannot be judged fairly. Even if you just want to get a sincere apology, you have to spend countless efforts. The store said he was right. The road police said he was right. The Transport of New South Wales said he was right. The psychologist said she was right. The soldier said she was lite. The school said she was right. And the court police said he was right. But facts speak louder than words, and justice will prevail. I originally wanted to get a fair trial based on the store forging a fake compliance report, which should be punished by up to 10 years in prison. However, after I learned the specific process, I still fell into despair. First, I have to report the case to the police and wait for the police to check and decide whether to sue them before proceeding with the subsequent process. But the most critical first step, due to the good relationship between the store and the police attitude of turning big problems into small ones, may not be able to go through the prosecution process at all. In addition, criminal prosecution itself is a very complicated matter. I don't understand it very well. My English is not good. My mental state is not good, and I don't have financial support, etc. Too tired. Regarding my case, things are far more complex than I have described here. If you are interested, please review the video playlist I previously compiled. Some of my conclusions may be exaggerated due to my abnormal mental state and excessive fear, and they might not fully match the facts. However, it provides a lot of evidence to support some of my views, and this evidence is the key point. If the reporter is interested, you can dig further.